Hey everyone, this is David B, and this video is a little bit of an experiment and a change from my usual videos, and I thought I would go for a walk and take you all with me and show you the scenery and maybe talk a little bit about language learning. So I'm here in Delaware, USA, and this is the Red Clay Creek. Actually, it's a beautiful day, not too cold. It's mid-December right now, but actually tomorrow we're going to get a big snowstorm. I think we're going to get at least 6 inches, but some places up in Pennsylvania might get as many as 30 inches or more. So we'll have to see how things play out, but that should be tomorrow into the next day. So I might be making some nice videos in the snow. To film this video, I'm using my iPhone, and I have it in a gimbal, which is a device that you hold that basically stabilizes the phone so it doesn't shake as you're walking. I told a friend that I was looking at getting one, and she told me that she had one that she wasn't using, so she let me have it, which was really nice. So I've been experimenting with it to make YouTube videos for my other channel, which is about birds. I was inspired to make this kind of video by a couple different YouTube channels. One is Mandarin Corner, which is a Chinese learning channel that I really enjoy and get a lot of value from. And some of the videos on that channel are ones walking around a city or going for a bicycle ride through a city or through a park. And I think it's just there's something about watching that kind of video where someone's doing something, going for a hike, walking, driving in a car. It's just mesmerizing to watch. So I thought I would give it a try. The one other channel that inspired me is one that I recently discovered, and it's called Live on Patrol. And it's a sheriff's office in Minnesota. And they do a live stream every Friday where they just have the camera set up on looking out the windshield of the sheriff's vehicle. And they just drive around, and you get to see them respond to different situations. But it's mostly just them driving around and interacting with the community, but also just things like stopping at a gas station to use the bathroom or to get a snack. And there's just something really enjoyable about seeing it. I'll probably keep this video a little shorter just because I don't have all my equipment charged up all the way. And I'm also not sure about things like the sound quality or what the video will actually turn out as. So this is a little bit of a test. The other thing is there's a lot of hills here, and I'll get out of breath easily if I keep talking nonstop. This building over here is what's called a bird blind. It's a wooden building that you can go in, and there's windows that open up that look out on some bird feeders, so you can get a closer look at the birds. I was out walking around a little bit ago before I decided to grab my equipment to film this video, and there's only a couple other people here on this property hiking around, so we'll see if we run into anybody. I just saw someone over this way a little bit ago. a minute ago, so maybe we might avoid them, but on weekends it can get quite crowded here. A lot of visitors. The one other thing I just noticed is that this video is filming at 720p rather than full HD. So maybe in the future I'll record the videos at 1080p. I think this can even record at 4K. I don't know if my computer can handle that though. Here we are on the other side of the bird blind. We can get a little closer. You can see the bird feeders. I don't want to get so close that I scare the birds, but especially in the winter, a lot of birds like to come to bird feeders, eat things like sunflower seeds. Just a beautiful place. Here's a little creek. You see the bridge there. You can hear a Carolina wren singing. One of our few birds that sings the whole year. Normally we think of birds as singing in the springtime and the summer, but there are a few that continue to sing into the fall and winter. I've been doing a lot of language learning recently, studying Mandarin, Chinese. I've studied many languages before, but only to an intermediate level. So with Chinese, I'm really trying to get to a higher level where I'm fluent. So just been doing a lot of listening and reading and watching videos and talking with Chinese friends. See the little stream here. I had been making YouTube videos every day with explaining the lyrics to Christmas songs. I'm sure some of you watched those videos, but I was going to do it every day in December until Christmas, and I just got a little burned out and stopped making them the past few days. Maybe I'll pick it up again and do some of the more popular ones like Jingle Bells, but they just took quite a bit of effort, and I wasn't getting very many views, so I just took a few days off. You probably just heard there was a gunshot, maybe someone hunting, I guess. We sometimes hear gunshots from a nearby shooting range, but the direction that came from was probably a hunter. Probably deer hunting, if I had to guess. I don't know the exact seasons, but I think it's still deer hunting season. Okay, heading uphill again. The way I have this gimbal set up is that the pitch is locked, meaning I can't point it up or down. No matter how I move, it always stays level. So that's why it looks like I'm looking towards the ground, because I'm walking uphill. But this is probably the best view on the whole property, so I'll take you up here and show you. I can hear an airplane. We get a lot of airplanes taking off and landing from Philadelphia airport. which is maybe 20 miles away. Here's a little bit of the view. You can see it's a beautiful day. But we're not at the top yet, so we'll keep going. Okay, we're at the top now. You can see there's a couple chairs that people can sit in. There was another gunshot. I'll show you the direction that came from. Sometimes we can see oh, I see the hunter. Hopefully he's not shooting this way. Take a look with my binoculars. He's up in a tree stand, it looks like. Kind of in the center of the screen. I don't know if you can even see a dot of orange, but that's where he's at, kind of at the far end of that green patch. Here, another airplane. The other noise you can hear is here they've been cutting some trees apart. There was a lot of damage from a tornado a few months ago. And so there's some tree trimmers that are cutting down trees and clearing up brush, so you can hear one of their machines cutting up the wood. I've been thinking a lot about language learning strategies lately, and my latest theory is this idea about that when you're learning a language, no matter what you're doing to study, reading or watching a video or sitting in a class, studying a grammar book, memorizing vocabulary, doing flashcards, I think you can always kind of tell whether or not what you're doing is being useful. You can tell whether or not you're improving from that activity. So for instance, I was saying I watch those Mandarin corner videos, and they're at a really good level for me right now, where when I watch them and read the subtitles, I'm reinforcing what I already know, and I'm also learning new things. And so I can feel that I'm getting a lot of benefit from them. Now, there's other activities where when I'm doing them, maybe memorizing vocabulary, I can feel like I'm not getting it, I'm not interested in this right now. Or maybe if you're trying to learn grammar, let's say you're taking a class and you have to learn grammar, but you're not really that interested in it. You just have to learn it because that's what the teacher tells you you have to learn. Then you might not be getting much benefit from it. So anyway, my theory is we need to find those activities that we really feel like we're improving when we do them and spend as much time as possible doing them. Which, okay, it's not a groundbreaking theory, but I think that it clears up some ideas of, well, how much grammar do we need to study, or should we study grammar or not? I think you'll be at points in your language learning where you need to study some grammar to explain what you've already been noticing in the language. And so when you're learning the grammar in that case, you're interested because you say, I've noticed a lot of sentences that have this structure. Why is that? And then you read an explanation and you say, that makes sense. Whereas if you had tried to learn that too early, you would say, well, this doesn't make sense. I don't understand it. So whenever we're studying, find those activities where you feel that you're getting benefit and do them for as long as possible. Spend as much time on it as possible. And from my experience, that's when I've made the biggest gains. And then you'll reach a point where maybe I need more vocabulary now. Maybe I need more understanding of grammar. Now, when you do those things, it's with a specific purpose in mind, a specific goal. So that's the right time to do those. But I think overall, when you're learning a language, a lot of it is comprehensible input. Lots of listening and reading. And the Mandarin corner videos are great because they have the subtitles in the Pinyin and Hanzi, so the two Chinese writing systems. So it has the characters and the words spelled out kind of in English letters, if you want to explain it that way. So you can pronounce them, because when you look at a character, you might not know how to read it. Pinyin tells you how to read it. And then it has the English translation. And so when I'm watching these videos, I quickly read the English translation, and then I go through the Chinese and see, okay, that word I know, this one I know, this one I don't know at all, but I think it's connected to this English word. This thing I kind of know. And just going through that process of looking at the English translation and then looking through the Chinese equivalent, I've made so much progress in a short time. Every time I do that, if I spend an hour doing that, I really feel like I've made improvement. And week by week, I can tell that I'm understanding more and more. So anyway, that's my current theory of language learning. And I hope that by making some videos like this, it might help some people have content that they're interested in watching and that will help them improve their English. We're coming back down towards the creek now. If I could point the camera up, I would show you there's some turkey vultures flying around. Many of you know that my job is as a hawk counter, so I'm used to staring at the sky and identifying all of the birds that fly over, especially the big ones like vultures and hawks and eagles. So I can see about 4 or 5 turkey vultures right now. Group of 5 over this way. Let me see if I can point it up. There we go. Don't know if they really show up on the camera that well. Coming back down towards the creek now. Some people ask, what's the difference between a river and a creek and a stream? A river is bigger. And I don't know what the literal definitions are of creeks and streams. We would call this a creek. I guess creeks are smaller than rivers, but bigger than streams. So I would call this one a creek. There's probably some official definition. It has to do with how wide they are or how deep or how long. But in general, when we're talking, the really big ones are rivers. These medium-sized ones like this are creeks. And then smaller ones like we're going to come up to right here, as long as I don't fall. It's very muddy and slippery. As we go across this little bridge, I would say this is a stream, just very small. We often think of streams as coming down from mountains, water that comes from the mountains and then go into a creek, which then go into a river. It's a really nice day for a hike. Actually, when I came out earlier, I was overdressed. I had a couple of coats and sweatshirts on, and once I started moving, I just got too warm. So I came back to the house and took a couple layers off and came back out. Normally we don't get very much snow this far south, maybe a couple inches at most, a couple times over the winter. So I'm really looking forward to getting 6 inches or more of snow tomorrow. Mostly because I don't have to drive anywhere or do anything. It can be dangerous if you have to be out on the road. So, but as long as I don't lose power in the house, I'll be fine. I was going to go to the grocery store, but before a big snowstorm like this, everyone goes to the store and stocks up. The joke is that everyone buys their bread and milk. So I just want to avoid the store until the storm is past. I have enough food for the next couple days. Nice look at the creek. A little bit of ice on the ground. This whole area that I'm down in right now actually flooded. When was that? Maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And this was all underwater. Another gunshot. But the creek came up and just flooded all of this. I'm gonna come up here. This is kind of a swampy, marshy area, and it's a boardwalk, so we keep our feet dry. We're going to be coming up on the tree trimmers with their machines, so hopefully that's not too loud. But I want to come over here because there's a nice covered bridge that I want to show you. Another puddle on the ground. Boardwalk. This boardwalk here on the right just goes back in and stops, but you can see it's really wobbly, I guess, from that flooding. It just kind of moved the supports a little bit, so it's kind of leaning left and right as you walk across it. I'm planning to go home to Pennsylvania for Christmas in about a week, so I hope to film some videos then when I'm home with my family celebrating Christmas. You can see the covered bridge up here. You don't see very many of these types of bridges. A lot of people like them, especially photographers. They're really nice to photograph. The only problem is they're a little bit small. Only one car can fit on the bridge at a time. So in the morning and in the evening when there's a lot of cars going to and from work, sometimes there's a traffic jam as people have to wait for others to cross the bridge. Just give you a look at the covered bridge from this angle. You couple of birds flying around, some sparrows. So here's the bridge. Very beautiful bridge. And actually, when there was flooding, I was worried about this bridge. Right after you crossed it, cars were coming up and going across the bridge, but the stream, the low point is actually once you cross the bridge, and there was water across the roadway. So a lot of people were turning around, afraid to drive through the water. And I was worried that the bridge was going to get damaged. And actually, the red wood towards the bottom got a little damaged from tree trunks and branches floating in the water and hitting it as they passed underneath. So sorry about the noise. You can hear the tree trimmers machinery. So if anyone is still watching at this point, you'll have to let me know what you think of this style of video. Is this helpful for you? Or what are some suggestions you have to make it better? Like I said, I think this type of video where someone's walking around or riding a bicycle or driving, whenever there's constantly changing scenery, I think people like watching them. So I think some people find them relaxing and others can be educational. So I need to find the right balance of how much do I want to talk versus how much do I just want to be quiet and show the scenery. But this is an English learning channel, so I think I need to talk for a fair amount of the video. Coming around now to this is the main entrance, the driveway into the parking lot. Nice bench to sit at and look down. You can see the boardwalk down here. We were just on the other side there. Looped around this way. Just a beautiful day. But like I said, tomorrow I think it's going to start out cloudy, and then the snow is going to move in maybe around midday into overnight. Now someone's using a chainsaw over there. Okay, well, I think that's all for today's hike. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. This is David B. Thanks for watching.